Inequality existed long before capitalism. What markets changed wasn't inequality, it was who benefited. In the last video, we saw how inequality became permanent. Property turned advantage into a legal claim. Inheritance carried inequality across generations. States enforced the system. By the time markets appeared, inequality wasn't new. It was already built into the rules. Before markets dominated, inequality was fixed in place. Wealth was tied to land. Power was tied to status. Obligations were personal and visible. You knew who owned the fields. You knew who ruled the town. And you usually lived and died within the position you were born into. Inequality was rigid, but it was obvious. Markets didn't erase hierarchy. They changed how inequality worked. Exchange replaced obligation. Money replaced status. Contracts replaced tradition. This was a quiet revolution because markets made inequality mobile. Wealth no longer had to stay tied to land, family, or place. It could move, accumulate, and grow across distances. Inequality stopped being local. Under older systems, inequality was hard to miss. Markets changed that. Wealth no longer needed to look like power. It could exist as money, shares, or claims on future output. You could be controlled without being commanded, excluded without being named, outpaced without ever seeing who passed you. Inequality didn't disappear. It became harder to see and easier to scale. Markets didn't just move wealth. They changed where power came from. Before markets, power was personal. A lord ruled a place. A ruler commanded people directly. Markets made power indirect. Control no longer required authority over individuals. It required ownership of assets, capital, and access. You could influence lives without ever giving an order. You could shape outcomes without being visible. You didn't need loyalty, only contracts. This mattered because power became harder to challenge. There was no single figure to resist, no clear authority to confront. Inequality no longer felt imposed. It felt impersonal, and that made it more stable. Markets changed the form of inequality. They sped it up, expanded its reach, detached it from daily life, but the core rule stayed the same. Ownership still determined who claimed the output. Effort still didn't guarantee outcomes. The structure remained. Only the mechanism evolved. Markets didn't create inequality. They rewired it. Next, we'll look at the one period when this system was deliberately restrained and why that restraint didn't last.